Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Power to Be Holy show. I am your host, ID Archibong, and I have a very special someone here with me. Her name is Roli Daibo.
Yes.
Yes, her name is Roli Daibo. Roli, how did we meet again? Like, how did we start talking?
You were my HOD in church.
No, is that how we met?
That's primarily how we met.
Because I know it was just one branch of church, and then I just used to see you around.
Yeah. I probably farms you. I won't even lie. I probably farms you initially. Probably maybe like comments here and there.
Yeah,
Oh, you
'cause
look nice. And then
yeah,
we started working together.
It's one of those things that you don't really
Remember the moment.
but I know that we started like just saying hi to each other.
Yeah.
I followed you on Instagram as well
we followed.
Yeah.
I was already following you, and then you
and
followed
then I followed
me.
you, yeah.
And then I think then drama now came into the mix
Yeah,
somewhere.
so we started a drama unit and we used to present plays in church.
Yeah.
And Rolly was part of the unit, and and
that's how we started talking.
Yeah. Well, thank you for honoring my invite to be here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Amazing. So, for those who do not know Roli yet, Roli, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, so hi, like she mentioned, my name is Roli. So a bit about me. I'm a corporate governance professional. I'm a Jesus baby, as we can, make off from here. What is there any interesting fact I need to say about myself?
Future chairwoman.
Oh, 430 under 30 chairwoman kind of thing. Yes.
Well, thank you so much again for being here, Bobby.
No problem.
So today we're going to be talking about holiness in friendships. I think a lot of people struggle not just with finding the right friends, because I think one of the most important things we need to set in place when we're trying to improve our relationship with God is our environment, and that includes our friends. Yeah. And a lot of people struggle to find that type of good friendship. And not only that, when you find God, centered friendship, there's also the tendency that it will crumble.
Yeah.
And crash, and there will be disagreements, and there'll be bad things can happen.
Yeah.
So there's a need for us to address that topic. But let's start from having good friends in the first place, because I feel like it's important, because a lot of, I think, both men and women, but guys especially, like, they found their brothers, they found people who they can share everything with. They found people who they are comfortable with. But at the same time, these people are drawing you in the wrong direction or away from God.
I think one mistake we tend to make is sometimes we underestimate the impact of influence in our life. When you have somebody around you, and I mean, you'd see all these psychology tests and stuff like that, where you are around someone long enough and the person starts to influence the way you think, the way you act. And just imagine having the wrong person around you consistently feeding you with, consciously and in fact unconsciously, you find out that you start to pick traits that you never even thought you would. So it can be very, in fact, it is very detrimental having the wrong people around you. And I'm going to scripture, so I'll go to scripture. I mean, you know about the story of Amnon. His friend literally encouraged him to do what he did to his sister Tamar. So if you're with the wrong people, it can be really detrimental. In my case, for example, I remember when I first gave my life to Christ, I wanted to have this new experience where I wanted to give God my all, but then there was that fear of losing my friends. But the longer I was in certain relationships, the more I knew that I'm either feeding one or I'm feeding the other, because I found my heart, or rather my spirit, wanted to do one thing. But being around my friends that were still doing what we were doing in the past, like still listening to certain types of music, still clubbing, still being around certain type of people, you find that need to conform is always there. So even when people say, oh, if you're strong-willed, my dear, life, you will be humbled, actually. You would actually be humbled. You think you have that will or capacity, but the best thing to do is just protect yourself. So protect your space, protect what you are allowing around you. And honestly, it can be quite difficult, especially like you said, you've built such strong bonds with these people. And I remember, I think it was one of the reasons why I had to go into prayer and just be like, God, it was almost like I drew an ultimatum with God. I was like, God, I want to do this thing, but if I'm going to do this thing, I know I can't be around these people.
Yeah.
So please help. And I feel like God specializes in
Yeah.
splitting certain relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And you find out that the more you stand for what you know is right, your values and everything, there will just be a natural gravitation away from each other because you
Yeah.
don't align.
You start feeling like some sort of discomfort
Yes.
in that friendship.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens because salvation is a miracle of changed desires. You
Yeah.
start, the things you want start being different, the things
Yeah.
you desire, the things you find funny, the things you're comfortable allowing
Yeah.
starts becoming different. And I've experienced it as well, where like I had a friendship, this was a long, long time ago,
Yeah.
and I just started like the things that she would say, just started feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think in that moment, you can either lean towards the voice of the spirit or silence it. So you can either be like, oh, okay, I'm not comfortable anymore in this friendship because I feel a different calling in my life. And dear God, please help me.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, do your thing.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the quickest prayers that and I have experienced it in my life, honestly. Or you could be like, but I want to be here, and you could keep like going to those places and seeing those people and engaging in those conversations. And sooner or later, like the Holy Spirit's not going to force you.
Yeah, he'll just let you do your thing.
Yeah.
But I think a different perspective to just quickly add is, I know some people always have this argument that, or if the person is around me long enough, I could influence them. And I feel sometimes as human beings, we overestimate ourselves.
Yeah.
Really, we tend to do that a lot. It'd be better to just align yourself with the norm than an anomaly. It's possible. But you're thinking about protecting this new thing that you found and you're trying to nurture. So just draw the boundaries. You don't have to be antagonistic toward the person, but oftentimes I've actually found out that the gravitation is from there. It's sometimes the righteousness or like the new you, it starts to call something in them. If it's something they respond to, that's up to them. But sometimes it makes them feel a type of way and they just pull back.
Or they make you feel uncomfortable for being the spirit cook.
Yes, and after that, I'll just be pew.
Yeah.
Just
When you said that, this analogy came to my mind. So there's this thing that a teacher that I was watching did. He called out to people, told one to stand on top of the stage, like on the platform of the stage, and told one to stand at the bottom, like down the stairs, and said that they should hold hands and try to pull each other. And it is, you know, a normal thing for it to be easier to pull someone down than for them to pull you up.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with friendships with people that you allow in your space. And, you know, I think in friendships and relationships, we're literally merging with the other person. More seriously in marriage, but still in friendships.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're becoming who you are associating with. And if you think that, you know, it's going to be easier for them to become you than for you to become them, just remember that it's easier to fall than to
lift
climb.
someone.
But yeah. Okay, so people who hear this would probably be like, okay, maybe there are people in my life that are not God's plan for me right now. And I want to find new friends, but I find it hard to find new friends. You know, my environment, maybe, you know, just hood niggas. How do I go about finding the right friends?
The kind of people you are looking for, you have to go to the environment where you will find them.
That's so true.
If you're looking for people that will build you up in your faith, godly friends, you have to saturate or find yourself in that kind of environment. Because, you know, I will always be, and I'll use myself as an example. When I first moved to the UK, I didn't have any friends. And I wanted friends, and I specifically wanted godly friends. And I think I told myself for the longest time, you know what, I'm just looking for. And I feel like at some point God was like, where do you think you're going to find these people? My darling, please stand up, just go to church one Sunday. Just go to church one Sunday. And I think when I went to church, I might not have made, I didn't make friends within maybe the first 2-3 services, but then the atmosphere was where I wanted to be. And after, with time, and I think that's another thing, you also have to understand that with time these things will come. I don't want to even underestimate prayer. I think, is the first thing. You table these requests to God. This faith that we profess and we practice, you also need to know that God is so excited to help you build your faith. So when you carry these requests to him, he'll bring the right people around you. Gradually, you just come across them. The thing I would say is, with friendships, you have to leave your shell, because you have to be willing to engage, even in the smallest way. Hi, hello, how are you doing? That's how we started talking. I think just one thing I've learned is compliments. I think with most of the friendships I've built, I just compliment people. I make it a habit. You find out that person warms up to you after some time. So whatever that is for the person, just the way you would want to be treated, just replicate it. And you find out that in the right environment, not in the clubs, because in the clubs,
we all fam.
so in the right environment, those kind of friendships will come. And I mean, there's some friends. I have a really good friend I made from Instagram. And again, just compliment. I really like what you put out there. I'm not saying be forward. Please don't go into people's DMs and be telling them,
can we be friends?
Can we be friends?
Oh my God, if I was friends with all the people that message me and ask me if
I can imagine how many requests you get. And you know the funny thing, I followed you for the longest time and I really appreciated what you were doing, but I'm like, no, it's not going to be through this medium. And you also need to see that life just as well. God is kind. We ended up meeting on a completely different place and then built a relationship from there. So you can just tell people, oh, I love what you're doing. Encourage them. Deep. You never know. You'll meet, because I won't lie, I was one of those people. I met somebody that I really admire. And I'm like, this is the time. Do you know I know you? And then the girl is like, and when I went home, I was ashamed. So
I mean, you can be excited. I mean, that's normal.
Because the problem is, so I think it's just also about you have to try. I feel like with any good thing you want to build, you have to try. And do it the way that works best for you as well. So just gradually, but I would also encourage, you will make friends online. Please go to church. Just find somewhere that feels like home as well. It makes it easier.
I've heard this thing that like traveling abroad is so lonely. But when I first came here, I wasn't lonely at all, because like the first thing I did was I joined communities. And you know how like when we're kids, you know, we naturally make friendships because first of all we're kids and we have, you know, kids don't have issues.
They don't have issues.
You can see another strange kid and be like, is that your Legos? Let's play. And that's it. Adults were more wary of each other. But the thing is that we were in clubs, we were in societies, we were in the same classes, we took the same classes over and over and over again. So doing things together forces you to kind of have like a common ground. A common ground. And kind of brings people together. So I joined a Christian union. I joined a debate club, which I met a lot of good people from. But the Christian union, the friends I got from the Christian union they've stuck with me till now, because you know we're more of I relate more with them and kind of, you know, talk more to them about certain things and open myself up to them because I feel more comfortable. And so I think, you know, don't just like wait for things to happen. Kind of join something. If you're going to church, you probably will go home a lot of times without actually meeting people or forming connections with people. Like, what if you had some extra time to join a service unit? Because that's even how we met. That's how I met my best friends today. Because we're all in the same service. We're all in the same service.
I won't say what we call you in church, but I'll just keep quiet. But Marrakesh babes.
But I mean, I met my best friends in a service unit because we had to work together every day. We were in the same group chat. We had meetings in common, and you know that just kind of gravitated us towards each other. So join things. And
the right community.
I found that as I've grown older and older, I've become more wary of people, in the sense that, not that I don't like people, I love people, but in the sense that I think when I was younger, I mean early 20s, which is not so far, but I would...
It's the early 20s. Sorry.
I wouldn't be hesitant to
Yeah.
make friends.
Mm.
There was no there was no internal screening in my head. It was just like, oh, this person, love their outfit, they're cute, we had a few laughs, this is my best friend now. But now I'm more like, I've seen those people, I've seen myself open up to people, and then somewhere down the line, it turned out they were not who I perceived them to be, and I had opened up myself to them too early, that I did not wait to discern if, they were really. So now I think I've become more wary
of people.
Yeah, because I'm just like, okay, this person is an amazing person, but what if I find out that they're mad somewhere? What if I find out that they have bad attitude?
Bad attitude.
You know what I mean? And they're just good with first impressions.
I think everyone is risk averse, to be very honest, and it's not a bad thing. And to be very honest, in this day and age where the world is coming to an end, it's important, because you can no longer take people at their face value, which is what you're saying, which is true. Because they might be one thing 1 second, the next thing they've switched up. But I think, to be honest, it's a risk, but it's one that you have to be willing to take, because people take it on you. If you think about it as well, people actually take that risk on you. That weariness is not something. It's something I know people deal with, but I think the only way to say it really is a risk you have to embrace. But then I know people a lot of times say follow your gut's feeling, but since we're believers, discernment is important as well. There are friendships that I have entered, and within the early stages, I sense very strongly the need to retract, just pull back. That's this so person, and then always also because it's a new thing, be very mindful of the little things you see. Evidence of small jealousies, small envies. When they make some passive comments, they say things, you tell them, oh, I don't like the way you said that thing, but they do it again, because if you think about it, friendships is almost like a dating relationship. The way you would enter, you're also wary when you enter a relationship, because you don't want breakfast. But so you're looking out for things. You also look out for that for friendships as well, just so that you love this. You want to love people, but you also want to protect yourself. You don't want people to get in, and then you have to just be discerning, look out for those things. But I don't think it would be good to enter a friendship or any relationship with a pessimistic approach, like it will end from the beginning. True. Just you have
there's a balance, basically.
There's a balance. That's the best way to put it. There's a balance.
There's also the aspect of grace, because
yes,
at the end of the day, not everyone is perfect. Definitely not me. I don't think you are perfect.
I'm not.
We're all trying, but we all have our own things that make people not so happy all the time. And if we went around just making judgments based on things we saw about people, rather than giving them the opportunity to prove that they are more,
exactly,
that's also a bad thing in itself. You know. And I think one thing to look out for is not just the characteristics that they show, but are they self-aware? Do they look like you? Are they surrendered to God? Because even when they act a certain way or do a certain thing, as a human that could hurt you, are they surrendered enough to the Holy Spirit for Him to change them, for Him to correct them, to lay that thing down and be like, okay, that's not how I should have acted, because I want to be Christ-like. Do they love the Lord enough to allow Him to work in them? Because if they just go to church but they are not surrendered to the leadership of the Holy Spirit, they will hurt you. And
they'll feel justified doing it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, to even buttress your point a bit more, there's a difference between good and there's the difference between good and godly. Because some people are like, oh, we share the same values and everything. But there are some things you will go through in your friendships that will bring out the fact that you need godly people, because you want someone that is selfless. And they also have, like you said, they're surrendered to God. God can minister to this person. Because the same way you'd want to extend grace, or God can be gracious toward this person. You want someone who's also receptive to the voice of God, to know to do same to you.
Exactly.
Because I've been with people and I'm like, oh, yeah, they're good people. They're good people. And then in my head, I'm like, some things will happen and I'm like, at the end of the day, we are very selfish. We are so selfish.
And we don't, sometimes, a lot of times we don't realize
We don't even realize it.
Like what you said, I think I've experienced it where something, a number of things would happen, and I would extend grace.
Yeah.
And then this person will now come and be like, oh, pour like my iniquities all out on the
They'll
table
just
and
be a
say,
list.
this is what you did, this is who you are, this is what, and I'm just like, where is the grace? Like, if I were to pour yours as well, it wouldn't be cute. But yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah, so it's about establishing, because one thing I would say as well to protect me from that, and I think that would be the last thing, is I've compartmentalized my friends. I call my closest friends my holy of holy friends. And there's the ones that are in the outer,
The
you know,
outer
inner
court,
circle. Then
inner
there's
court,
the
then
outer
the
circle,
outer
then the one
court.
outside the tent, overflow. And
Yeah.
I've seen that it protects me a lot because it helps me manage my expectations.
Yeah.
I already know the holy of holy friends. These are the people that
they've shown you that
they've
they
shown
are
you.
for
So
you.
you allow them gravitate from the overflow into, if it's a situation where you look at the way the friendship is materializing and you see, you just know where to keep them. It protects you as well. So I manage my expectations. You also manage your expectations. There's no need, because sometimes you don't want to burn bridges, because some people they could potentially be good people in the long run. That's where that grace, like you mentioned, comes in. But you will not enter the holy of holies and cause me trouble. I'm sorry.
Let's talk about conflict in friendships, because it's something that happens so often. I think there's a perception of the fact that, oh, if you found the right friendships, the godly friendships, that, you know, you've done most of the work. But actually, a lot of the work happens in the friendships. Especially when I feel like, I don't know, there are some friendships I would have because I'm a chill guy. If I were friends with a chill guy, we'd just be chill. And, you know, we would have like misunderstandings, of course, which happens. But there are also some friendships where people are more, I don't know, emotional or passionate. And when we come together, we could clash. So especially when, like, you know, you guys, when you're being friends with someone who's not necessarily exactly like you, and so their expectations are different, their way of living are different. They don't understand the motive behind certain things you do, and you don't understand the motive behind certain things they do, and it becomes like a
the thing with friendship is you understand this, you accept it, and then you make the effort to accommodate that person's difference. That's the truth of the matter. And because again, that's why I said that love your neighbor as yourself is such a strong crux for human relationships, because you're constantly thinking, or you ought to also be thinking about, would I like if this person did this to me? So I wouldn't do this because I wouldn't expect it. And I find when you put the other person, actually, like, you put the other person as, or maybe even above yourself, it helps both of you to, you know, find the middle ground. So when you have those conflicts, for example, and I've had conflicts with my friends, they come to meet me and they're like, I don't like the way you acted, I don't like the way you behaved. And as opposed to being defensive, even if you're someone that's defensive, because sometimes natural human reaction, you want to initially defend, but then you have to be that person that goes back to introspect. You have to just, okay, did what this person actually say make sense in any way? Like, managing conflicts is really just about you now putting yourself in that person's shoes. You have to constantly do that. Because the reason the conflict exists is because the two of you are different. And the two of you cannot be the same. God did not make robots. I think one thing is people tend to see conflicts as bad things, but I see them as revealers. Because the way people manage conflicts or manage disputes will tell you a lot about how they think, and even how they prioritize you in the relationship. Because if they're thinking about how will I try to save this, or how, not even just save this, but how am I going to, you know, how am I going to resolve this so that I'm there for this person? It then gives you a perspective of how they, you know, the way they see the relationship anyway. So conflicts are
I don't think always necessarily, because I used to be very defensive, but it wasn't because I didn't value the friendship. It was just because I didn't understand that, you know, first of all, I didn't even know that was a thing that I was being. You know, I didn't realize it in myself. It took people pointing it out for me to be like, oh, okay, actually, this is a better way to resolve conflict.
But then you accepted, like, there was the acceptance part.
Fair.
So that's why I feel like humans are almost innately defensive. But then, just like you said, there was that acceptance. And then I feel like with acceptance, the other things start to follow. Gradually, accountability comes into the mix. And then before you know that, and once you can be accountable, you can accept it. You find that you've already started making headway in resolving it. But if you remain in that place where you are defensive, for someone like me, I tend to be a people pleaser. I'm coming out of it. I will just probably cower and I won't say anything. But long after I become stonewalled, it will now get to the point where before you blink, pew, I've left that because it's actually hurting the other person. So dealing with that conflict, there's a lot of vulnerability that comes into play. You actually learn about yourself because you start to ask yourself, okay, why is it that? Because when they call you out, they're like, why is it that I'm always approaching it in this manner? And then in the friendship, like really friendships are about building each other, exposing things that are, you need to deal with, and then building one another. So as opposed to seeing conflicts as things that tear you down, you just see it as things that are exposing the sides of yourself that might need to be dealt with. In the conflict, many times people are like, it's you. You did it. But I'm like, no. Within somewhere there was a breach.
Also, your approach to communicating it. Like, imagine how hard it would be for someone to, I don't know, meet you in the middle when you're trying to lord their offenses over them.
Yeah, very true.
In a mean manner. I know you're hurt, but like, the way that you present a fault also influences how that goes about being managed at the same time.
Those generalized statements. You always, I'm like, once or twice. How did I always? We've been in this friendship for 3 months. How did I always?
You made it about me. You made the whole thing about the other person.
Yes,
like, can we calm down?
Calm down, calm down. And I mean, like you said, approach is that's why I was saying the thing about if you also put into perspective how you uphold the friendship. Because like your best friends, for example, you will fight with them, but you know that these are people that will protect you. They care for you. You are going into the friendship thinking, I still want to, I care about this person. So yes, I will hear what they have to say. I might call them out, but I'm also willing to hear what I need to do in order for both of us to come out of this better. And that's all. So if that's what you're having at the fore, then you deal with conflicts better.
What if their perception of the reality is truly wrong? And so you find yourself bearing a fault that is not yours, all in the name of not being defensive. Now you're carrying a load because you want to not be defensive. Does that make sense? So you come to me and you're like, I feel like you stole my candle. Just a candle because your candle got lost or something. I don't know, maybe something more serious, but let's say you feel like I did something and it really hurt you and you've been crying because we love this candle. This is your favorite candle. And I had been eyeing it for a long time and telling you how much I like it, and suddenly it's disappeared. And well, to be fair, this is not the same thing, but
I get where you're coming from.
Yes. And then I don't want to be defensive. And obviously, not in a case of stealing, because either you stole or you did not steal, but think of something more nuanced. And I don't want to be defensive. So first I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry that I'm sorry about how you're feeling. I'm sorry that you lost your candle, and I'm so sorry. And I'm kind of internalizing these accusations when I could have necessarily, I feel like, how do
I completely get what you're saying. And for me, the reason why I get that is because I tend to be in a place where I feel like I'm not justified. Like I've said, I'm sorry, I've done all the things, and it feels like I've overcompensated because last I didn't do this thing.
Exactly.
But the thing is, I think in that moment, especially if it's a friendship you care about, it's less about who is wrong or right, but how the person feels. Because what you're saying is, you're saying I'm sorry because the person feels hurt. You're addressing that hurt because you care about the person. You can actually then revisit the issue, the conversation. So in that, the person needs to feel safe. They feel hurt, they feel exposed, they feel. But then if you go about it, I didn't. Before you know it, the person is already, you yourself, you're not like, is it because I told you? The two of you are already at loggerheads. So, but I'm telling you, okay, I'm sorry. And then you said it right, like, I'm sorry about how you feel. I know this must be blah, blah. This is therapy. I'm sorry about how you feel, how I made you, how this made you feel, and all of that. And then you cannot.
But apparently now there's a wrong way to apologize. So I can't even say I'm sorry about that you feel that way. I have to say I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. So like that would be me taking, and at the end of the conversation, I'm saying this because I've experienced it. At the end of the conversation, I go away feeling like after you're free of that burden, and now I've taken it on, but I don't feel responsible for it at all because I just don't want to hurt your feelings. So I'm saying, how do I then deal with those feelings that I have internalized?
That you've internalized. Give yourself extract. So let's say you've done that in a scenario. I think one thing I've really learned is, you see that timeout. There's a reason why people always say do a timeout. Not necessarily don't talk to each other, but give yourself the space to come out of a heated situation. You can, this person ultimately cares about you. You can revisit it in a more calm way and be like, when I went back to think about this, I meant what I said when I said I'm sorry about the way, about how this made you feel and how I might have contributed to it. I meant it because I care about you. But at the same time, I want to be very honest. Like, I think this happened in this way. I didn't want to hold this in because I didn't want to start to build resentment toward you. In that atmosphere, at least it's calmer. But if you're trying to hash that out at the heat of the conversation, the person thinks they think you're apologizing to just let things roll off very quickly. So there's with conflict resolution, it's like, well, in a relationship with that person, it's never easy. You have to learn the nuances. But if you think about it, I think when you put at the fore how you want to be treated and received, it does help you gauge how you will manage it with the other person.
So thinking, if I were in this situation, how would I want this person to relate to me? That's so true. There's something that I learned recently is that as we build friendships with people, we form like a bank of opinions about them based on how they act. And sometimes they don't even know that opinion that you have of them, and you don't know the opinions they have of you based on like little things that happen maybe one Friday night 7 weeks ago, And I feel like, that sometimes builds up. And we talk about communication all the time, but like I don't think we know the practicalities of how to actually live that out. Because what if I had a perception on you based on maybe how you laughed off something that I told you? And instead of saying that's too little to talk about, I expose that perception to you and give you the opportunity to set that straight. Or even if it's not a wrong perception, to be like, okay, now I see, and that's not how I want you to see me treating you. That's not how I want you to see me. And let's fix that. I feel like that's so important in friendships or any relationship. It's first of all not allowing yourself to build those opinions, but also exposing them in the moment so they do not build up, because sometimes it's subconscious.
There's something someone told me, and I can't remember it the exact way he said it, but it was something along the line of, if you don't talk about your expectations, or if you're not vulnerable, you're already creating premeditated resentment. And it's true. Because like you said, you're warehousing those feelings. So even if someone reacts and it's not even in the slightest related, you already have your bank somewhere, and you're treating the person based off of. So as much as possible, and it's hard, as much as possible, deal with it. There are times, and realistically, it might not be all the time. But if you see that thing crop up again, it might be better. It saves you more to deal with it in the moment. Maybe bring that last one. I just observed this, and I don't want it to be something that builds up in me. Just address it there, because you also never know the person. And that's the thing about human beings. Sometimes we do things so unconsciously. You call the person to it, and they become more aware of it the next time. Because, like I said again, ideally the person doesn't want to hurt you. And I've been in situations where I've told someone, "Oh, this joke that you're making, I don't like it. I have K-leg, I know. Stop saying it." Like, stop saying it. It makes me feel some type of way. And then you keep doing it. But then that person has to see that, and I come back again, and I mean, I've done it the first time. It's like, if I've told you like 3-4 times, I clearly can tell, at least there's a track record that this person doesn't care about my feelings, and it will replicate itself somewhere else. But you on the other hand, someone tells you, okay, I'll stop making that joke. I see how it makes you feel, and I apologize. I won't make the joke anymore. But let it be that you communicated so that the person cannot come and say, I know, but you didn't tell me now. I didn't know. Do you understand? So it saves both of you. It saves the relationship in the long run as well. So yeah.
I had a scenario where like one of my friends, she used to do this thing where like used to so she would like, I don't know, should be not so pleased about something, and I wouldn't know what that was, and then I would try to like talk to her, or and then that's how I'll find out that she's not so pleased because she just stonewalls, or she just doesn't want to talk to you, or so it happened like twice where I had to, I think the first time I kind of, followed up, we had a call, we had a conversation, she felt better. And I think the second time it made me angry. I prayed about it. I followed up, we had a conversation, it was better. But I didn't have the conversation about the stonewalling. I had the conversation about why she wasn't pleased. So that was a different thing in its own, where I prayed and I dealt with it in myself, like the anger of how that made me feel, and I let it go. But what I did not know is that it formed, again, the bank of my opinion of her. So the next time that something happened between us, that I did something that hurt her. But when she reacted that way, again, I was just like already angry. Like I wasn't even going to hear her out, because I'm just like, this person is doing this again. Like this is this person's character. Like I'm so tired of sucking up to this person when they always stonewall me. I'm so tired of being the person that is always coming to call you, to try to talk to you, to try to, because I've allowed this perception of her to build in my mind. I'm already like, the next thing just confirms what I have already put in my mind about her, and so I'm already on the edge. So that's just kind of one of the dangers that I noticed about that, is that if I from the beginning told her, okay, this is not something that I like, she would have been conscious of it, and it would have been better. It wouldn't have gotten to that stage where let's talk about friendship breakups. Have you had a friendship breakup?
I'm recovering from breakfast. I've had, and the truth of the matter is, I feel like friendship breakups, very honestly, they're more painful than relationship.
Honestly,
men are everywhere. But you see,
but you see a sister.
It really, oh my gosh. I took it to God. I wept. I cried. I prayed. I said, God. But the thing is, and I like the fact that, and you see why I love the Bible, see, is the fact that truly, at least most of the things you will encounter in life, that drama have happened in the Bible. Look at Paul and what's his name now? Barnabas. Yeah. They fell out.
Yeah.
Paul and they now became Paul and Silas and everything. So it is possible for the two of you to be spirit-filled.
Yeah.
Gingered for Jesus. Yeah. But it's just irreconcilable differences. And the truth of the matter is, the Bible actually sort of talks about, like, Paul was hot-tempered. Like, so it's very possible that Brother Paul was like, I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear it. But, I think I sort of learned that. I think one thing I also noticed, I've learned is 20 friends don't play for 20 years. There's that. It doesn't mean that you enter friendships and see the person as dispensable. That's not the truth. But it also means you understand that friendships are in season and out of season. The truth of the matter is, you're in a season of your life now. That friendship could work really well. That person could get married. You could have a baby. You find out that there are things that have come into your lives that now make the relationship, a bit more edgy. It almost seems like there's no room again the way there was and everything. There are things that happen. So some friendship breakups will happen just because the season has ended. I understand that one. But when it's situations where the friendship has to end because of irreconcilable differences, it can be very painful. But one thing I would say, and I learned this late, is that as much as you care for the person, please protect yourself, because you are exposing, friendship is like, especially friendship is a very vulnerable thing. You're exposing yourself consistently to this person's influence, impact, actions, and all of that. And if the person consistently has shown that, I don't rate you, It might not even be I don't rate you, but they have not, like you said, there was something you said that you went out of your way, because friendship is selflessness. You're going out of your way for this person. I'm going to apologize. I'm going to make it up. I'm going to do this. But you're not receiving it on the other end. It's very painful. It can be very painful. And if I've extended grace, I've tried. Even the Bible says that follow peace with all men as much as is possible. So you try, you do all that is necessary, but it just still looks like it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
That breakup would likely have to happen. What I would just say is it can be amiable. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
And it is
How
what it
do
is.
you know when it's not?
It's so a very personal situation. I know when it's not, when you've tried. Even, you know how the Bible even talks about in conflict resolution, you've met the person. You've now gone out to meet.
That's my language. How do you know it?
I lived there for 5 years. I picked up some, you've met the person, it didn't work. The Bible now says, oh, okay, you should bring maybe 2 other people, or somebody that can then take it to the council of elders. And we tend to do that a lot of times. You try to, especially if you have mutuals, you've tried as much as possible to salvage it. But it just seems like repeatedly, it's not a common effort. Yes, you might be at a stage where you're mature enough to know how to extend grace, but then somebody is just still in that phase where they're not self-aware, they are not accountable, the friendship will break. Because one person is at the other end, one person is doing everything, all the effort. Friendship is a relationship. It is a commitment. You are committing. So you are saying that, you know what, if you are bending small, I will accommodate you and, try to find that balance. But if it's not a mutual thing, and, for me,
that mutuality
is so important because if not, you will feel terrible. For me, I tried everything. My own friendship breakup, I tried everything. And then I took it to God. And I was really waiting for God to maybe give me a dream. No, don't worry about her. It's okay. Enjoy. I was really hoping that God would do something. And I was like, and I think I like the subtlety of the Holy Spirit in the fact that I just knew I needed to let it go.
Yeah.
There was something my friend told me, and I'll say that. She said, to preserve your godliness, you might need to let this friendship go.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's not about that friend, though. It's about the state, your state and identity. If hanging on to this thing, especially with the way this person has hurt me, will leave me malicious, angry, and bitter, it might be necessary to take a break. Sometimes you might actually come back together. It might be a thing where later along the line, and you find out sometimes it's a maturity case when the person has eventually sat with it. Because people always say you never know what you have until you've lost it. The person might have sat with it, they will now come back.
That's what I was thinking about as well. Because sometimes it's like, it's not necessarily, because there's a lot of times where it is like 2 people who are not equally yoked, but then there's a sense of like maybe 2 good people, but like they just keep butting heads. So at this point, it doesn't feel good to pursue anymore. Like we're both tired, we're both emotionally worn out, we're both not in the same place, and like trying is not working. It's not worth it. Maybe one person is trying harder than the other. One person has already given up and the other person is still trying. Maybe it's just time to let it rest. And maybe one day it could be better. Maybe after you've both thought about it or properly let it go. Or maybe not. But it is what it is.
It is. It honestly is what it is. Because sometimes as well, your expectation is very different from other people's. That's why I said that compartmentalizing is very important. I've entered friendships where I was giving 100%. The person wasn't giving me up to 20. There is nothing.
Sometimes it doesn't even mean that they're a bad person. It just means like your perceptions of each other are different. And that's okay. Like,
and it's also because
you
just adjust. The person might also not rate you. It's not bad. They don't rate you like that. It's okay. I will adjust accordingly. I will just not expect that much from you. I won't expect as much. And it doesn't mean we won't be amiable, but it might just be that we need to fall into line so we're not,
Okay, audience question as we round up. So there's one question that says, I have a friend who I was really close with. Out of nowhere, they stopped calling and texting as much and stopped asking to do things together. It started feeling like a one-sided relationship until I decided to stop reaching out and I never heard from her again. I feel so much pain and anger and I don't know how to let go of these unresolved feelings. What do I do?
I think we've covered a lot of it, but
Yeah.
then I think the part that I didn't talk about was praying to God about it. Is
I feel like I've been on both ends. So
you've done it and you've collected.
Continue what you were saying, please.
But yeah, I don't know. Why am I always collecting? Am I weak? What is it? I'm just joking. But anyway, I've in those situations I've prayed. The uncomfortable thing is I found myself in a situation where God actually asks me to pray for the person. And the truth of the matter, sometimes I enter the prayer angry, like, Father. Like sometimes I'm just like, Holy Spirit, I beg, just take over because I can't do this.
Yeah.
But I found that what prayer does is, I think in that moment, it lets me have the heart of Jesus, if that makes sense. Even if it's for that small moment, I'm perceiving as God would have me perceive. And I think what I would really advise at this point, it's now less about the person, but more about you. Because now you're hurt. The person has basically left you. Let's say ghosted you. You are hurt. You are you're in emotional pain. You feel like, it's not about working. It's not about getting yourself to the place of wholeness. Prayer is very important. Talk to God about all your feelings. Like tell him how you are feeling. In fact, I used to tell God, I do not feel justified. I actually used to say it. I don't feel justified. Because if not, you find yourself in a constant state of, you're thinking about this person, you're not forgiving the person, you're resenting the person, and it's your life that is on hold. So that forgiveness, you'd have to forgive the person for your peace. And you might have to look at the situation very realistically. There was a time I had to tell myself, you know what? I did all that I could. This is not because I want to focus on the person's faults, but I'm just putting it out plainly to myself. And I was like, no, Roli, you did all that you could. And then I handed over the feelings to God. I would even give an example, and it might seem, I don't want to say things that seem to scare people, but then I had been in bitterness for about a year and a half, for example. I had done all I needed to do. I had actually spoken to myself and everything, but I was still bitter. There was a day I sat down in my room and I told God, I was like, God, this is how I'm feeling. This is all of that. And I remember I don't know how to explain it. I started crying. There, I cried for like 20 minutes nonstop. And I was like, I don't like feeling the way I'm feeling. I was like, I let you go, it's okay. As soon as I did that, I'm not even joking. I felt something, almost like something left my back.
Our words carry power and we don't realize it.
I was like, it shocked me. Exactly. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. It's not happening. I let you go, it's okay. It literally felt like something left my back and I felt physically lighter. I was like, wow. If that doesn't give you an example of what unforgiveness and bitterness does to you, my gosh, it takes away from you. The person might have moved on and have forgotten about it. They don't even
realize that you're going through it.
They don't even realize it. And that's the thing. Sometimes you have to be okay with no closure. Forget about the closure thing. You have to be fine with it. It's about now preserving yourself. And not it's about preserving yourself. And it's also about, allowing God come in. He'll let you see those things. That's one of the things I'll say. The Holy Spirit and therapy.
I mean, I feel like, because I've been on both sides. So I understand the hurt, but then I also understand that a lot of times it's not personal. It's like how you said you have, your closest friends, you have your not so closest friends, and then you have your other people. And it's like, imagine someone who was on the outside feeling like they needed more from you, but you genuinely didn't see them in that way. You didn't hold them in that regard. And it's not personal. It's just that they could see you as their person, but to you, you don't find home in them. Not that they're a bad person. But like there are just some people you gravitate towards. You know what I mean? And so they could go on feeling so horrible that they're doing this and that and that and that. And you be kind to them, but the thing is that people will notice when you hold them in a certain standard, no matter how good you are to them. You know what I mean? So I feel like at the end of the day, you just have to be like, this person has made their choice. I need to be okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, and just
Manage
it's painful.
expectations,
Yeah,
to be honest.
it's painful, but yeah, at the end of the day,
You might just have to, and what you've said is perfectly right. You might just have to also take the relationship at face value, especially if you can see. Because people actually will show that thing, oh, it's not like the person doesn't rate you. There's just somewhere they've put you.
Yeah.
You might just have to be fine with it.
Yeah.
There are some things I won't expect you to come and tell me. There's some things that I wouldn't tell you just because we're friends, but we're not. That expectation you have to. And the truth of the matter is, I think I'll just end by saying, whatever is within your control, deal with that.
Yeah.
I cannot deal with how ID is feeling or how she perceives it. So I might have esteemed her in this way in my life, and then I'm not getting that back from her. What can I now fix on what can I deal with?
Yeah.
I'll just have to treat her nicely and be amiable, but not expect that from her anymore. Yeah. So deal with what's within your bubble.
Yeah. You might need to mute, you might need to
yeah.
delete their number. I don't know, but
yeah,
you
just
can
whatever,
love them from afar.
Love them from
so
afar.
that you can be sane and okay with yourself. But it's not enough to hate them either, because you know, sometimes it's not
that deep. It's not boyfriend. It's not.
It's
band.
deep. To
It's
you,
deep.
but
Actually,
it's not personal.
It's not
from
personal
them.
from them.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Roli.
This was fun.
Yes, this was fun. Absolutely an amazing conversation. Thank you so much.
And thanks for having me.
Bye, everyone. I'll see you in the next episode.